Yeah, we know you're a fucking loudmouth.
That's fucked, bro. That's really fucked.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Jada Goddess, and this is.
Rich mushroom.
And
They call me Mommy Shroomy.
so we just finished having a Amazon Prime watch party through Twitch. I wanted to try that out, see how it worked, even though this one wasn't very enthused about it.
Well, yeah, because I don't know what half the fucking story was. You kept missing it.
Well, you kept getting up to go get food and stuff like that. So that's that. But anyway, um but basically on our end, I don't know how it was on the other end of the viewers, anybody that joined the watch party. It kept buffering on our end. Like on my other laptop before I upgraded, it it would buffer like really really bad, but at least this time it was like a little bearable. Like if you paused it and then press play, it would just like continue. But she was upset because I couldn't figure it out at first, so it paused, like it buffered at a very like um would you call it emotional or like connecting moment between Hajime, is that her name, and Shino, and we didn't get to see what most of that part was, but
Basically, he was saying that he was like jealous of someone or something. That could have been the fact that she was connecting with other like people
or
with her power, apparently.
no, or maybe even it's just like her being able to, be human and not worried about being. I don't know. I remember seeing bits and parts of that part in particular on YouTube, and I know that that scene got really deep, but we would have to like check it out when we get to that part of the story. But basically, the movie we were watching was Fuse Memoirs of the Hunter Girl.
I thought it was memories.
Even though it was Memoirs.
Oh, well, I'm fucking stupid.
And we just wanted to talk about it because there's like some things where just kind of like, this is good, but then there were other parts where just kind of like, this is where you talk too, not look at Instagram.
Sorry, they put killing stalking on my Instagram. Those sick fuck.
See, I finally do one of these like chat and chill.
Oh,
like,
your co-pilot's like having a headache.
Like, she wants to do like anime like commentary podcasting stuff like
No,
that.
I wanna do like actual like analysis videos.
That's not what we talked about before.
Well, yeah, yeah, I want to do that too. But like, you that was
but she
my channel like a year ago. You're still just like,
I know, I've been working real hard this year on like everything.
I've been working on my channel, my mushroom fiction. Hashtag shameless plug here.
I know, right? She writes fan fictions that are one shots, and then she commentates them and uploads them on YouTube. So, and she's
Speaking of which,
growing quite the following. But we're supposed to be talking about the movie.
okay, well, give me a topic. So far, you're just talking about.
Well, I was saying that it was pretty good, but there were some things that we were just kind of like,
we
what
didn't
the
know.
fuck?
We didn't know what happened during some parts because the streaming service was fucking up.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but when you're still when you're watching it, you're just like, what?
Yeah, because like I like wasn't getting it because it was just like going too fast and like my
See,
eyeballs have not been able to keep up with shit today.
and plus, I thought it was I thought by now it would have been dubbed because it's been out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I guess not.
I really would have thought it would have been dubbed, but still, it was really good. Um, Me and her noticed that like, was it just one of the characters or a couple characters? They didn't really blink.
Actually, a lot of people in animation, they don't blink. Have you ever not noticed? I mean, half the time we were watching Seven Deadly Sins, they weren't blinking either. In animation, they just don't blink. I mean, they're
You
animating
know
like,
what? You have a point.
yeah,
I
because
just
like,
never noticed.
yeah, because it's just the fact that like they're animating a shit ton of other things, especially fight scenes, and that's like
I mean, I
grueling.
think
So why would they animate people blinking?
I know, but I guess like the only time you like would ever see them blinking is when they're like batting their eyelashes or trying to,
Mhm.
do the whole.
I've only seen a few instances where people have blinked in animation, and I can't name them off the top of my head, but I've been like count 3 different times.
Huh.
Yeah, because
Never thought
let
about
me pull up like, let's see, around my 1.5.
that. Dude, you use Ranma as like a reference for fucking everything.
I like Ranma. Like, let me get where there's like people. See, the entire time, they're never blinking. People don't blink in animation. They just don't. And another funny thing that they have is that they don't have bathrooms.
Valid point.
Ranma was probably one of the only times that I actually saw a bathroom. And they even made a joke about Ranma 1/2 is one of the only animes I've seen that has actual bathrooms.
And there's Senchan.
I mean, they have bathrooms, like the shower, but people don't actively sit there and see like toilets or something. Or is that like Animal Crossing? I don't
Oh my god, you're nuts.
know. No, because Marshall even asked me that. He's all like, "I have to go to the bathroom. Wait, does this town even have bathrooms?" And I'm like, "He's on to us."
But yet they have toilets for decor.
Yeah, but he's. I mean, okay, like in Pokemon, for instance, you never see a lot of people having like their own bedroom or a bathroom. I mean, come on, half the time like it's a 1 bedroom place. I mean, where the fuck does your mom sleep? She stays downstairs for the most of the majority of the time.
Oh my god, dude.
Why are we talking about bathrooms?
This is like definitely an ADHD moment because it's supposed to be about the movie, and now we're talking about, oh hey, there's not really any, bathrooms.
I do have ADHD.
So
I have ADHD.
okay,
Don't at me, lady.
we'll start with the beginning. When I before it buffered and I was actually and I saw it, she had to step away because she's like, oh yeah, I know. Because she's all like, oh, I gotta go get something to eat. Pause it or end it as I'm not ready yet. So I thought it would reset itself. It didn't, but the girl it looked like she was hunting. So she lived in the mountain area and was raised up by her grandfather and learned the ways of hunting.
And he's dead. Let's remember.
And he passed away. But the brother mentioned something about a monk. I didn't see a monk at the beginning, so I'm gonna have to go back and like check that out. But I didn't see anything about monk. They just like briefly mentioned it, unless the grandfather was a monk. Then I don't know. But and then the fact this girl doesn't know how to read or write.
Well, she lived in the mountains.
I
But I
know,
mean, her
but
brother knows how to read and write, so how come the fuck she doesn't know how to read and
yeah, I
write, but he
know.
does? Like, what? Did
I
he learn while he was in the city, or? Huh?
yeah, I know. That's why I'm just kind of like, did you maybe the grandfather didn't know? Like I don't know. That's to me that's a little odd.
Or he was just like, oh, there's really no point in learning how to read and write. You're just hunting. You're in the
I mean,
mountains. Who
I
gives a
know
fuck?
probably then it was might have been like somewhat of a common thing,
Mhm.
because they consider like only certain people or classes that would know how to read and write, while others, not so much. So I can kind of see that, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like for our character, the brother knows how to do those things, but yet she didn't know how to do those
Well,
things.
it seems like he's probably been in the city a lot longer.
Like, and it almost seemed like they were implementing that him and the grandfather didn't see eye to eye, so like, he left. Basically, he just flat out was like, I'm gonna do basically walk down my path and go be a samurai slash officer,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously the grandfather was probably just like almost the same way he was like a pure hunter or something like that, because this girl was just pure country girl, learning how to survive on her own in the wilds and stuff, and then she was like thrown into the city.
And then let's talk about the fact of modern clothes. How, like, her and this other girl were the only one who wore modern clothing, and then everyone else was just in, late Edo, I would say Edo, like, attire.
Yeah,
So, like,
that was
where are we going with this?
yeah, that was actually really
And
odd.
then her gun was a hairdryer.
Yeah, her weapon, well, literally, it looked like a hairdryer.
It
Like,
looked like a
at
hairdryer.
first I was looking at it, I'm like, that thing's a fucking cannon. I'm like, no, that bitch is a hairdryer.
It looked like a hairdryer with like this, like the like the little holes that they have on like salt and pepper shakers, like the really thick
Yeah.
ones. Like that's what that looked like, and that was where the gun, like bullets fired out of. But she never used the gun in the fucking movie.
She used it a few times. You know what?
She used it at the beginning. I saw that one.
She used it at the beginning. She um shot slash nicked the blonde haired fuse that they were hunting. That's what slowed her down.
That's what I didn't see.
But the brother, you know, was the one that did the final act. Yeah, and I'll show you that on YouTube. What happens? It's sad. She just
They have a
that
connection moment.
that whole moment, like, from what I remember watching on, like, the parts I saw on YouTube, even though buffered in the movie, was she hadn't seen her son and had no word of like what happened to him or anything, and you end up finding out that he was the pup that the hunter girl freaked out about, that got killed, because where she comes from, it's like when you hunt like the adults in big games, like there's rules to that. You don't go for the children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what these people did. They were just like, we don't care if it's a child, a mother, like none of that. We're gonna kill it. Like, but everybody was like making fun of her and like city folk.
She's like, she's a country bumpkin.
And then, but yeah, the clothes, it like you see everybody in there. They're wearing the traditional styles according to that era, and then the weapons are even according to that era too. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, if they wanted her to have a gun, why didn't they choose like a rifle for that was accommodating to that time? Because you see it in the movie when they're trying to shoot Shino, and at her when they're trying to get at the Emperor. But instead, they give her this wear hair blow dryer thing. It was like they couldn't decide whether or not they wanted it to be a cannon, a rifle, or
blow dryer. And it's not like the modern blow dryer. It's like one of those old ones we had when we were kids.
like the yeah.
Because it's longer. It's not like the ones we have where it's just like a funnel and then it has the stick. This thing was literally like old fashioned.
But her outfit, it seemed kind of westerner to me.
Well, not only even a western like attire for that time didn't look like that. That's why
true.
the girl, like, maybe a little bit from like England, but then again, like it still looked way too modern, like how we wear our clothes.
Yeah, because the shorts and then the crop top,
Mm-hmm.
like okay,
No one wore that back then.
if you wanted to make this girl look like a hunter,
Mm-hmm.
then she could have wore like, you know, like animal pelts. Like you could see like she has like that little scarf that I don't know if it was like a bear or something.
It's supposed to be like how like remember like certain renditions of Fred, he has like that. It looks like a sweater, but it's not. It's just like this little like cloth that's like a square, and then it
Yeah,
ties
but
over
I
here.
mean, they could have
That's what
like,
that
or
is.
you know what? You know what would have been interesting? I just thought of this right now.
Mm.
What if the inspiration was kind of like Princess Mononoke, but not the animal skin? It was just like the shorts and the shirt. Because remember when you watch Princess Mononoke, you know, they're all dressing according to that era, except for her. She's wearing shorts and a tank top.
Well, yeah, because like it still has magical elements, and I get that's where like the breaking of like the clothing goes. But even she's still wearing clothes that were like modern to her time. It's just more animalistic. It's for her to move around in.
That's true.
Because like that girl was wearing, that's something like you'd see a normal lady like walking around. And
Yeah,
nowadays,
like normal everyday
it's like,
life.
and then like the other girl was something that looked like something straight out of like I don't know, like early 1990, like early 1900s for England. And it's just like I don't think we're in the 1990s or 1900s. Fuck, I'm stuck in the
Yeah,
90s.
I mean because like, and then they kept mistaking her for a boy, and I'm just kind of like, okay, I can see where you get like the boyish factor. She's a tomboy, but at the same time, she's wearing like a crop top, and it's
Well,
she has.
you're wrong. She doesn't wear a crop top. Mononoke doesn't wear a crop top.
I'm not talking about crop top. I was talking about the other girl.
Well, I know, but you were like saying
I
before,
said
like
she had a tank top. Yeah, she's wearing wife beaters.
don't diss my boxers, woman.
So
And
I
then these two fall in love. Bitch, fuck.
they didn't okay like they they had a moment, but I like maybe they did kind of fall in love. But they still separated in the end. That's kind of how this is. Yeah, I
Hmm,
wonder if this person that made the movie was a fan of Princess Mononoke.
maybe. What's the name of this movie?
Fused. But as I was saying, you know how they kept saying that she was a boy, and it's obvious you kind of see the silhouette that you know she has like a bit of chest,
Yeah,
and
she has
how
she okay, I know this
she was
might be like weird, but she has like a reasonable size like chest to where you can literally see it. It's not that hard to like not see it, you
yeah.
know?
And I mean, and she did look, yeah, she looked tomboyish, but in a way she was also was acting and seemed pretty feminine too. But then again, during that era, like they had the what was it called, the kabuki, that where all the men, you know, it's a show and they're all men, and even if
Mm-hmm.
there's like a woman, uh part that they had to act, they would still dress up as like a woman. So then again, like even that, I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, that's like culturally correct, but still, I don't know. It's just to me, those were like one of like a couple of things that I found odd, um, and then what's the next part? Want to talk about Shino?
Ha!
What?
Still mad at the boy. God, it was so beautiful. But then they fucked it up. Anyway.
Okay, well, we can't get to that part yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So Shino
And my dog is sighing.
is one of the 8 of fuses that came into town, I guess, one year.
were a group of fuses, and all of them died except for him. And one of them happened to be a child that he was taking care of for someone else.
Yeah,
And he disguised herself as one of the main concubines of the
yeah,
Red Light
she was
District.
they called her the Celestial, and and
And her boob physics made no fucking sense, but that's just me.
but she rocked that outfit, that end outfit. She rocked it. Like,
You didn't see what I saw though.
okay,
Like
yeah,
this was like
okay, yeah. You were looking at the jiggle, jizzle, the
no,
jiggle
no, okay,
physics.
no, no, no,
But I was like
no,
looking at
no,
how like
no,
the silhouette of
no,
her
no,
outfit and
no,
everything.
no.
How she was
The
moving.
backward shot, like when you see her back, her boobs, you could literally see like they're doing this, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like,
Oh, this?
yeah,
When
like
one
you could
when
see
one
it.
goes to the left and one goes to the right.
Yeah, you could see a lot, and I'm just like,
honey, I need to tell you something. Sorry, guys. This is very mature. This is why my channel is mature.
watch me sweat.
When you have a rack that's kind of, they do that. That's actually proper physics, because I remember in Cowboy Bebop.
So we're not doing like that one anime where the boobs went to
Yeah,
dodge
they
the
go
bullet, like to dodge the bullet.
Yeah, they went. They separately both went like up and down, like fucking balloons. No, they, because perfect example. I don't know if anybody's watched Cowboy Bebop, but you know how there's a part where what's her name, Frey?
I don't know. I've never seen Cowboy Bebop.
Well, the one main girl, when the guy has her tied up and I think she was getting interrogated or something. She was just kind of like, whatever about it. And they cut open her shirt. Both her boobs like went like that, like one to the left, one to the right, like, and that's how they're supposed to be. And they even said like that's how boob physics are supposed to be. Those are like proper portions, proper way that they move. Not how like when you go to watch a hentai or you go to do
harem
animes,
male
they
harem
they're
animes.
like this scrawny person with these big boobs, and then when they go to jump, one like hits them in the face, and the other one hits them in the gut. Like, no, that's not how it works at all. So yeah, someone chimed in, kitties. Oh, cool cats. but yeah, it though that was actually when she was like that. That was
I'm thinking like we had like a weird animation error, and I'm just like, no,
that was like technically how properly it was.
Okay.
So again, mature content. That's why I have this channel for like 18 up,
18 plus.
Not younger.
Mine's 16 plus. I don't talk about that, but I mean it's a fan fiction channel.
It's because I'm like always cussing or like just say shit.
I cuss a lot.
It's like, at least I'm honest that I have mature content, not how like some people are just like, yeah, I have mature content, but kids can watch it too. But no,
that's not how that works.
That's not, no.
Mm-mm. We weren't watching a kid friendly movie either.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, this ain't no R rated. This wasn't no R rated bitch up in here, but like.
No, it wasn't. I mean, like, probably like 16 or 17-year-old me would have still watched that movie. But yeah, that, my thing was okay, like, for real though, her hair, that Celestial's hair, the blonde woman, the fuse,
looked like one of those like weird. Oh, Yu Hakusho, the guy in the orange hair,
Kuwabara. Yeah, I was like, what's with the hair? Like,
it's like
you look like a gang member, a greaser. Like, you're gonna fuck some shit up. But yet you're freaking smoking hot. Like, I don't get it.
I mean, I'm sure that to some people, Kuwabara was pretty like nice looking too. I mean, he wasn't an ugly fucker,
But you think like, okay, think about it. Was that hairstyle part of that era too? I
No,
don't think
that was
so.
like something that came more into like I think the '60s, which is when that shit was like really picking up,
Yeah.
from my understanding. Especially
The
like those.
movie Grease. Would
Oh,
would it really?
I'm talking about Japan. You're like, what the way?
Hey,
You're
this
talking
is
about
still,
America.
it's
I'm talking
still,
about Japan.
it's still weird hair physics. Okay, so like
They gotta
they
like
had some shit going
they
on
gotta
too.
grab all their hair and just push it upward. Hers was like a mountain. Like hers was like
That
I'll
was
stab you in the
like
face.
whose hair was like that? Not just Kuwabara's, but it was somebody
That's
else.
that Space Boy anime. Remember the one you showed me where
Oh,
he was dancing?
is it Space Dandy or Space Daddy?
It's Dandy. Dandy, you've been watching too many heroes.
Anyway, yeah, Space Dandy. Like it was like his hair too.
Yeah,
But
it's not a mullet. It's not a mullet.
but see, but at that part when they killed her, well, the brother killed her. She just like kind of wounded her a little bit to where
Again, like I didn't see that part because I was in the kitchen, and when I came in here, your thing was glitching. So I just saw the brother like already like had done the deed.
yeah. So um that's when she just kind of was like she wasn't really happy with the whole hunt because it didn't sit well with her, and even though it didn't sit well with him, he was still kind of like thinking about it, but yet he was like, oh, the money, maybe I'll go hunting, like he was still
Mm-hmm.
contemplating it. The brother, yeah, that was some like, was there gel then? Like
I
that's
don't
some
know, but
hair physics.
she also had like this.
Because even that little girl's hair, the one with the grandpa for the
Mm-hmm.
writer, even her mom had some like weird hair.
Oh, she had like the that was a common hairstyle though
Yeah,
around that time.
but to me it was like
Have you ever seen like the
it
bowl
did like a
hair?
diamond cone going straight up,
Yeah,
and
but
then
the,
it
like
had like tubies
no, but
going.
like it's kind of playing off of the one hairstyle that they had, like remember in like Spirited Away where the granny had like the hair like
Oh
that. It's
yeah,
like that, but it's like
but it didn't look like she. But it looked like, oh yeah, her hair looked like it was trying to represent like a swan or some shit. Like it was some crazy hit hair. But yeah, at that part
it was just like
it was that
man.
it was that moment where her and her brother were both like wondering if what they did was right. She ended up getting a letter that she couldn't even read. And then when we did get to the part where the letter is read, it's kind of odd. Said welcome to the chat room. They'd only like read the beginning part, and it was sounding like it was mostly kind of like a poem, but she meant it for her son. And then it wasn't until she explained to Shino that look, they weren't, killing people for their essence or anything. They were actually, trying to cheer each other on to not do that and stuff like that. So I think that's probably what his whole thing was he was always like had the urge, the craving, the hunger to take people's essence, and there were times where he just couldn't control himself because there was points where he lost control, but somehow maintained like backing up away from it. And I speculated at a point that he might have been the son of the concubine lady, just because of how it was going. And then when you look at the photo, it kind of looks like him, but the child has brown hair until like yeah, when you reference back to the beginning, there is a pup's head on the mantle, and
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, how did they find out that the child was, like, there's questions that need answers, basically. Hold on a minute. I think the stream restarted.
You think so?
Yeah, because now it's back at 2 minutes. And we've been here longer than 2 minutes.
So let me it stopped and then
Yeah, because when I saw a glitch, I was like, wait a minute.
it had one viewer. One viewer was in the room.
Yeah, it was Camilio, the one that was in before. Let's see, I'm gonna check real quick. Yeah, it did. It broke it up. Because look, there's the first 30 minutes. So it started all over with this. So I'm just gonna have to make this one big video later then. Because I ended up finding out Twitch deletes their videos over time. I thought it actually stored them, but it has up to like 60 days. And
Yeah,
then they
that's
delete
what
it.
Twitch is known for.
That I didn't
I
know.
thought you knew that.
Well, hello.
Hi, we're back. Apparently this thing cut out on us.
Yeah, it cut out, so.
He gave up on life because we gave up on this movie.
I mean, I have this link to YouTube as well, but. And maybe it's just not used to linking to two different parties. I don't know, but. I mean, I need to have this up on Facebook too because I started my Facebook page now.
That's the first time I've ever heard that one before.
Oh, we're talking about a movie that we were watching for Prime Watch Party called Fuse Memoirs of the Hunter Girl.
Memoirs of a Hunter Girl. Although some people call it a Fuse Memoirs of a Huntress.
That actually, well,
that would make more sense than a Hunter Girl, but.
yeah, well, it's because everybody was kind of calling her that too, but we're just like giving input on it of what we thought of the movie and how like some things were kind of like off-putting, and then we haven't even gotten to the ending yet, which she's triggered by it. I was obviously triggered by it too, but okay, so she after her friend read the letter to her, she decided she's gonna go try to find Shino to give him the letter, and he's going through like
kind of a suicidal thing.
Yeah, like I'm gonna like before I die, I'm gonna choose how I die, and it's gonna be trying to take out the Emperor because the Emperor was the one that like ordered for all of them to be annihilated. But that's where we got confused, and even though we partially understood the story,
yeah,
after the Kabuki show that they had, this young emperor was dedicating like his whole thing to get like this magical sword and to be worthy of it to defeat the fuse or whatever, the imposters, so to speak. And that's not even accounting for how this story is basically pulling in bestiality, yeah. So
or called zoophilia.
Because the story goes that this very strong, commanding warlord, emperor, whatever the fuck you want to call him, was like the strongest of all the land, and he had a princess. And one day, basically, people were going to attack his kingdom, and they were all surrounded. So he hired people and said, "Look, whoever can bring me the head of the head honcho that is trying to attack my shit, you get to marry my daughter." And lo and behold, the daughter's pet dog brings him the head of the guy. And that basically ends up becoming her husband, is her pet dog.
What was that sound? That's the casting call. Those are millions of people crying.
So
and then she proceeded to do the thing with her dog and reproduce a small child, thus creating fuses.
And then says, I have to go basically live in solitude or alone and leave everyone I love. I'm sorry. Goodbye, basically. And that's how it was. And we were like so fucking confused. I'm like, is that really the story?
And where does the Emperor tie up with all this? Is he the dad of the daughter?
That's almost like what they're implementing. Like when the dude finally got the sword to go up against Shino, the last like imposter of the 8 fuses or whatever. He's like,
I shouldn't have let that my daughter marry that beast man. I'm like, beast man? It was literally a fucking dog.
Well, he said dog. He shouldn't have married to that dog. Like,
it's because a fucking dog.
And he's like, you guys are nothing but imposters. It's like, whoa, slow down. Is there like a misinterpretation in the subtitles, or are we like missing something?
Because I was looking at the gifs and there were certain subtitles that were different from what we were watching.
Yeah, so it kind of makes me wonder if they were the subtitles were even properly translated, because it's just kind of like, okay, dude, you're like, are you pissed off because the dog ended up being with your daughter or whatever the beast was, or are you mad because there's imposter?
Was it actually a dog? Was it like
I don't.
Was it like a fuse that wasn't?
Well, okay, his daughter's name was Fuse.
Oh wait. I have a theory. I just had a theory in my brain. See, it's kind of like with DNA. There's the originals, and then there's like the breeds that come after the artificial, I guess you could say. So he's a fuse, but like probably not called a fuse. He's like the original because you saw he had the X on his face, but he looked more human. So she too was probably also one, but reproduced with a dog. Therefore, beastmen and or fuses became a thing. They don't look like, like the human, more like kind of like godly, like, the ones you see on those paintings where they're like, oh, it's like a god or a creature or something, but they're human like spirits. That's probably what that is. It's basically DNA. It's like DNA.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's like DNA. I think that's why he was saying, like, you guys are imposters. Because they're not of the original, like, I guess you'd say bloodline, because they're mixed with something that's not human, which is an animal, which is why I said, like, zoophilia is very strong with this movie at this point.
I mean, it's a good story. It's just weird how they just like, oh, here, my daughter made it with a dog, like, part, and you're like, what?
Well, I mean, throughout history, like, myth, legends, how they say, like, giants, the satyrs, goat people, things like that. They said that humans mated with these things and created that. So I guess that's where they're getting it, is the mythology of like certain things like that. Because even they have like mythical creatures that are also like half human, half something.
I mean, they could have went with like the whole premise of like a werewolf.
So many wolves. What is with the wolves?
I'm just saying, because they're just like, it's a dog. It's like, you could have done so much more with that. Watch, we're gonna find out there's actually like a mythological or myth folklore that's about that.
I haven't heard anything of like at least like that, because I know that like kusunes, which is like foxes, and then there's tanukis, which is the raccoon dog. I know that. And then there's the Orochi, which is literally like, I think it was like an 8-headed like serpent, kind of like dragon, but also not. It's kind of like Hercules with a Hydra, but it's different. Mm-hmm. But a dog deity or whatever, no, I haven't really.
That is an Okami?
That is an Okami. Yeah. Well, they say Amaterasu is pretty much like the goddess of the sun. Like
Mhm.
she represents the sun, as of where like the others would represent water, earth, fire, or whatever paintbrush stroke you're using in the game.
Mhm.
And she's the only one who can bear all these paintbrush strokes. But she's a wolf, not a dog, so that's the
Yeah.
difference. Even her son Chiburasaru is also a wolf. We don't know where the fuck he came from, but he just came one day.
Right.
Because she left the heavens with well, he's not human. He's technically an alien, but he left with her to the celestial plane, whatever the fuck they call it. And then Amaterasu or Chiburasaru came down. It came back for some fucking reason.
I like how they implemented aliens, but anyways, this story, this story though. But that was. Here's the other thing too. Like,
Dog people are never a thing. It's always wolves. It's never dogs.
why did the fuse have the tattoo, the freaking the flower tattoo?
To tell them apart from the others.
I know, but is that something that they got when they were born in Bort, or was that like just a thing they had amongst their group? See, that's another thing that we'll never know. Like it was just
stated.
added. Like it was just there. Like they probably. I bet you.
Like here's the 3 things you need to see if it's a fuse. It's smell, fangs, and the tattoo of the flower that I can't remember the fucking name
bet you they came up with the first 2, and were like, oh, but that's just like so boring. Like anybody could stink or have canines or something.
Yeah, humans have fangs. Yeah, we don't have fangs like dogs, but we had canines too. So it's just kind of like, where's that bullshit logic you're coming up with?
Yeah, so they were just probably like, okay, we need to throw in something extra. Oh yeah, a flower tattoo.
Because like flowers are like.
Because that definitely signifies something mythical right there to tell.
Yeah, it's elegant.
Like I think that was just thrown in there.
Well, I noticed like a really like not a bad pattern, but like a really like consistent pattern of like animes in movies, like wherever using flowers as like, of course, symbolism, but also like other things. So yeah, that flower probably has a meaning, but again, I don't know what flower it is. Because like Tsubaki, for instance, is a flower without fragrance, so they called her Tsubaki. You know,
basically trying to say she looks beautiful, but she's actually very plain.
That and like
or lacks a personality.
I mean, technically speaking, her brother Mifune was supposed to take over the family, not her. But later on, she did. So he kept making fun of her in the sense of like, you're a flower without fragrance. So in a sense, he used it as an insult. That's why I'm saying like flowers are like a big thing here. I mean, come on, Pretty Kira had an anime where they based a lot of their villainy and like the essence for flowers. Because like every person has like a crystal flower within them, and the villains would take that out and like separate them from that flower essence. So basically, like becoming a desert wasteland. Catch Pretty Kira was like best anime ever. You need to watch it. My nose is dying. So that flower tattoo has to have a meaning. It's not just like something that's just thrown in there. Unless that's really what they did.
In Japan, they are used as a symbol of bravery, honor, and good fortune. Peonies symbolize prosperity, good luck, love, and honor. So
maybe it was something that the royal family had, like him. He probably had one. But then they have to use it because, they're also fuses. So the Emperor is a fuse. He's not human.
I don't think he's a fuse. I think he was a descendant from that one emperor.
Well, even he said his daughter, I shouldn't have let my daughter, like, it's technically him.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing.
That wouldn't make fucking sense.
But at the same time, the emperor was never a fuse. It was just whoever the daughter.
I just told you, like he had that X on his face, just like
Okay,
Shino
I
had.
know he had the X on his face, but his parents didn't go on fucking dog, and
No,
out came him.
you did. Did you not listen to my theory?
I
Did you just like say fuck your theory and just went with your own thing?
understood your theory. I'm
No, I
just
don't think
saying
I don't think
you
you
were
did.
trying to tell me that the Emperor dude was a fuse.
All right,
I'm
baby.
like
And we're
I'm
making the dog nervous now
I'm
because
te-
we're talking about like dog fucking.
and I'm telling you the Emperor dude isn't a fuse because that never went down the line, I don't think. Or else he would have transformed into one. Instead, he just transformed into like the previous emperor that was just like, I shouldn't have never let you be with my child. You imposters. Like,
I'm just going with my theory. Makes more sense. Just BNA all over again. Although this came out before BNA. So if you don't know what BNA is, it's a brand new animal and it's on Netflix. It's made by Studio Trigger. Very good anime.
it is. It's
We watched all of
amazing.
it in one day. I think it was like, no, not even 20 episodes. Was it 25 episodes? It's a relatively short
It's
anime.
like, I think it's 24.
Yeah, you can finish it in one
24,
day.
24.
Trust me. Binge watch it. You'll finish it in a day like we did.
Yeah, we were emotionally invested that day. But yeah, so Shino and the Emperor were fighting each other, and Shino ended up winning, of course.
He almost killed the Emperor, but he didn't.
Yeah, he was like, nah, I don't want to like even stoop to your level of craziness. He's just like, fuck it.
And then he proceeds to have a mental breakdown. Not Shino, but the Emperor.
Yeah,
That was
the
weird.
dude resorted to like sucking on his thumb and shit. I'm like,
What was happening?
okay.
Also, this dude, like, the thing is, like I said, yes, in animation, they never blink. But him, they avidly made it to where, like,
They made it clear this fucker wasn't gonna blink.
yeah, they made it clear that this dude had no life in his eyes and that he is a non-blinker, which I've never seen that before in an anime. So I'm like thoroughly impressed that they can make a non-blinking animation, but also make it look like a
I
non-blinking
know,
animation.
right? I can see into your soul.
It's just like,
But
wait, they don't blink, and I'm like, they've never blinked ever. I mean, the whole time you watch Dragon Ball Z, they're just like, like sometimes I see little bits of blinking, but rarely in a few animes. And even then, it's not for very long. But again, they're animating a lot, so it's very tedious to even do the minute details. So
yeah,
these dudes are working around the clock.
that's true.
So yeah, like
That is
they're
very
not gonna
true.
bother with something as simple as blinking. So I understand that, but it fucked with my mind for a while there, like a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like when I notice it in anime, I'm just like I can't stop thinking about it for a few hours. But I'm like, just like get over it. Makes me not want to blink. Fuck, blink.
Well, okay, let's see. We got to that part.
Now let's get to the part where we're like all fuckery and we wanted this whole thing. We thought it was a pure moment of finally characters getting together that we wanted to, in a sense, but also low key. Like if they didn't, it was fine. But then they had to kind of like be weird about it and fuck it up, and also like make it be unclear.
Well, okay, this dude's basically about to jump and like go disappear. Like he's just like on a whole suicidal tendency because he's the only fuse left. I don't know of his group or just in the world. I don't know, but he's like on I'm all alone
Yeah.
type shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so she actually catches him in time before
He jumps to his inevitable impending doom.
yeah, she's like, no, you're not going anywhere. You know, I want you to read this letter. I know it was meant for, basically the the son that got killed, but I think you should read it because, as we stated before, she, in simple terms of what she blatantly said, aside from the poem that it was sounding like to me in the letter, um, that the boy and the mother of the celestial, the concubine,
the main concubine of the red light district.
yeah, they weren't taking people's essence or killing people. They were like, they were fighting the urges, basically. Unlike Shino, who was just like
not fighting urges,
yeah,
whatsoever.
I mean, the only two times he did was with her, Hijumi.
And then that other guy that he was in the play with.
Yeah, and then the other guy that he was in the play with, which you would think that his crew that he was with would have felt like, oh my god, you're a fuse, like, and disliked him, or, like, you kept a secret from us, or you were gonna kill us. No, they were just like, one was for real, you're a fuse. The little boy was just kind of like, whoa, and then the other guy was like,
he should have pretended, like, basically
he's
the play has to go on.
Yeah, he's like, because for him it was more like
he knew,
but he wanted him to continue basically his charade, or his, like, how the, or continue the play to the end. All right, sorry about that. Okay, we left off at her basically,
hold on, let me get my bearings back together. My mind bounces in many different directions.
Oh, the one guy basically knew, but he didn't want him to end the charade. He wanted him to continue until the very end, and him showing that he's a fuse and everything. Now he just knew that he was basically gonna give up and, like, let himself be killed, and he didn't want to accept that. And then they were all pitching in to help get the girl to get to him.
We were already on the roof, though.
Yeah, we're already on the roof though, but
pretty much what she did was she's just all like, I don't want you to die because I love you.
Yeah.
And that if you want my essence, you can take it.
It was like what, Full Metal Alchemist, like, equivalent exchange. I give you half mine, you give me half yours. And she was just like, why don't you just take all of it? I'm willing to give it to you, basically. It was like that.
It was like a weird marriage proposal.
Yeah, and it was so cute and genuine. They hugged, they were crying. He transformed back into a human from his beast form.
And he said that I won't kill anyone if you don't kill anyone. Basically, like, she won't hunt anymore. And he won't take essence anymore.
And then he's like, so we could be like this, we'll be. He was insinuating, like, he said, we'll be like together forever, like, you mean it, like, I won't be, alone or whatever, something like that. And anyway, so they're both crying, and then he yells, and he's like really crying, and we're like, oh my god, like, we were like genuinely happy about it, even if it wouldn't have turned out like I love you status,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have just been like, hey, I'm here for you. Like, you're not alone. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even as like a friend
Could have been neutral.
or a neutral thing, whatever. Like, we still would have been happy with it.
Mm-hmm. But the
But,
fact that we did all that lovey-dovey stuff and then he
but,
proceeds to leave.
he still leaves.
Basically, they both end up on the bridge where they met, and she's like, "We met here, we parted here," and then a year and a half passes by. So basically, they say that the eighth member of, the Fuse, which is the group he was a part of, they basically said that they claimed his head, and then she gets a letter reply from him because she was sending him letters.
Because the little girl of whose grandfather is a writer,
Mm-hmm.
was teaching her how to read and write because she really wanted to learn, so she
Mm-hmm.
could write him.
Yeah, because he left.
Because he left. So my whole thing was when this was computing, I'm like, wait, they're saying that they found the eighth member.
Technically speaking, like, okay, here's the thing we didn't mention. They basically hang their heads up almost like trophies in front of the town. His, though, was in a rural part, I'd say, where, like, the writers, like, lived.
And it was just a rock with a face mask.
Yeah, with the mask that he usually wore. It wasn't his actual head. So that's kind of insinuating almost that, like, they didn't get him. Maybe they just thought they did.
Yeah, but then there's also that dark thought where it's like, okay, they say that they claimed his head and he's gone, he was the last one. And exactly around that time, she gets a letter. So it's like, okay, we need to know, was that letter before?
Because she's not insinuating whether or not she either knows or doesn't. Mm-hmm. Basically leaving it up into interpretation whether or not, like, oh, she knows and she's like, I got a letter. I
mean,
reply.
she was
or that she doesn't know and she got a reply.
And that was the other thing.
Insinuating he is alive.
And that was the other thing that was tricky because she was happy, but she was crying when she was at the fireworks. Don't you remember? She was tearing up and almost started crying. That's why I'm just kind of like, please don't tell me like he sent off that letter and before he was about to get killed. Like, that would be the dark part of it, and that's the fucked up dark part of it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of used to endings like those, like the tomfuckery ones from horror games, RPG horror games. So at this point, I'm not surprised.
It's almost like Spirited Away.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it closely resembles to that one movie I told you about, where the dude's a spirit and he can't touch he can't touch humans because he's been living amongst spirits for so long. Mm-hmm. At the end of the movie, he's gone. Yet she still visits every summer to that same place.
Well, again, it's like I said, it's like watching Spirited Away. When she leaves that spirit area to go back with her family, Haku dies.
He does?
Yeah.
How so?
Because when they said, we'll meet again, because she knew the name of, his what was it, the lake or river?
It's the Kohaku River.
The Kohaku River. Mm-hmm. If you go and Google it, the Kohaku River has been dried up for many years.
Well, so she said that they built like an apartment complex over that.
Yeah, so therefore he did.
So technically speaking, like the only reason he's been alive is because he had a fake name.
Yeah, he didn't remember his name.
Therefore,
or what spirit he was,
inhabiting.
Yeah. What place. I found that out on TikTok. Thanks, TikTok.
So technically speaking, what he meant by "we'll meet again" is like in the afterlife. Mm-hmm. So, because and the other tomfuckery thing was the fact that when they actually got out of the forest, into the forest, where the human world is, everything is like fully overgrown, and their car has weeds and shit on it, almost like they've been there for years.
But yet they haven't aged.
No, like they're basically speculating that at the end of the movie they've been missing for years. because it was like shaven. There was like no grass. Like there was grass, but it was like very short, and their car was fine. But at the end of the movie, their car has fucking debris and shit on top of it. The grass is overgrown, like literally like tall. It's like doing that mesh thing where it's growing on the wall, and it's just like it's insinuating that they've been there for years, not like months, but years.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the little statue that was in front of the fucking door was also covered in moss and shit.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm used to like those weird tomfuckery endings like this one. That's why I'm like, I'm beginning to be at that point in my life where I don't want to watch movies like these anymore.
And then the very interesting twist to this is too is the girl's grandfather, who's a writer, who wrote the, what did he call it, the Satamo or Sato Hakikoten, or I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering the name horribly, but it's about the story of the fuses. He said, and even though he's blind and everything was on fire and stuff, he's like, might as well just let the story, the book, the books that he published, the novel he wrote, burn, because he said, I thought if I wrote that and people would, you know, see it and read it, etc., they would finally accept the fuses into society and know that like they're not bad and stuff like that. But unlike, most writings, people just believe what it is, just the story.
Because everybody was like fucking having a good old grand time because they thought it was a story and nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
They know that fuses exist, obviously, but they don't really pay them any mind, I guess you could say. They just said, oh, it's a cute, fun story about the fuses that
But
people regularly.
but yet the people that like never had a question for the emperor about like the reason why they were being hunted, they just considered them like they were a freak of nature. Like, okay, yeah, sure, we get money out of it, so yeah, let's kill them.
But in reality, it's the fact that he let his daughter.
And nobody pays attention to that part of the story.
Yeah, because they're just like, oh, that's just a story. It's not like true. We would actually be.
I mean, yes, they were, going
Wait,
after.
whoa! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! She's a lady. How? Wait, I don't want to know how.
Yeah, don't ever ask how about that. Shit. But the ending, like I said, the where
this world is truly beautiful.
I don't know. I'm just the rooftop part. I think just would have been fine the way it was, and then if they wanted to be extra about it, they would have been like 1.5 year later, and he shows up to give her the letter, and you know mention something about all the letters he got or whatever, and then or even she could have went with him.
I mean, yeah, nothing was fucking stopping her, but apparently he just didn't want to be around humans. Because, like, I'm assuming it's the fact that maybe he wanted to, like, be away for a while to control his urges before he, would be around people again. But still, it's just kind of like, you need to be around the thing that you're having a problem with to resist it.
Yeah.
That's exposure therapy. Him being away from her isn't going to help him.
Yeah.
If anything, being isolated would just make it worse.
I mean, or maybe they were just trying to do the whole premise like, I love you, yeah, I love you too, but he loves her so much that he has to stay away from her because he doesn't want to one day, lose control and
essentially
do something he regrets.
Essentially eat her essence, which is technically their soul.
Yeah, so it's like I get it, but then again, it's like my imagination. I'm just kind of like, oh, that
because we were
could have
both
went so many different ways.
We were both really happy and giddy when they like had that moment because it's just like
it was a pure moment.
Well, yeah, you watched the anime for Princess Jellyfish, which is what you said it was a lot like.
Yeah,
I've seen the manga, but I haven't finished the manga, so I don't know if they actually ever avidly had like a confession. So when we saw this, and it's like Princess Jellyfish in certain ways, not always.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh my holy butt. But no, instead it was just like, he left. I died.
He left and I died. What the fuck? But
I just thought of Patrick.
anyways, psychopath.
No, this is like not protruding to like anything we're talking about. It just randomly popped into my head. We need to stop watching KFC shit because it's in my head now. I need a moment. I'm like crying.
We haven't even played the game yet, and you're already thinking of the Colonel. I love you, Colonel Sanders.
No, it's not just that. They keep showing me the ads on YouTube, and it's not helping. And I just remembered what I said yesterday about the fingers.
Oh my god! Shut up! Don't say anymore.
Is that too R-rated?
That's too R-rated.
All right. I'll tell you later.
But yeah, that was pretty much our intake on the movie. It's a good movie. Go give it a watch. But I definitely think there's somebody was the English translation is kind of off-putting because there's probably some things there that could have been better.
Well, like I said, there's always different translations depending on who's airing the thing. Because like if it's people actually dubbing it like real people, then it's always either like morally accurate or it's a little bit off because the fact that like it's very like broken English.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Pretty Cure where they're like, oh, that character's a boy, but then like you learn that it's actually a girl. Because I guess like in the translation, I guess like something got fucked up. So this,
or like Princess Tutu with that one guy with the black hair. They were calling him one name at the beginning, and then towards like the later translations, they're like, "Oh, fuck your." And when you're like looking at it,
Japanese. Well, you've seen the Japanese.
I saw the Japanese, and the whole time you're looking at it, they're saying fuck yeah," and you're like, "Fucker," like,
or fuck you.
And it's just like
his name is Fakir, like the cure. You know, it's like a traditional like it's. I think it's French. I think it's French.
Every time I looked at it, I kept like, you know how like a bad word pops up and then it goes beep beep like for every bad word. For me, every time they said "fuck your," my head wasn't beeping. It was "fucker, fucker, fucker." That's all my brain kept like thinking every time I saw the word.
When I watched it, I got the pleasure of seeing it in English. So they were saying "fuck here, fuck here."
Oh,
I tried watching it in sub.
In
like the
sub,
rest of it.
I liked his voice in the sub. To be honest, but that's just me.
Oh, I've heard the dub.
Like, don't even get me started on Hockey Yokai. Oh yeah,
we're going there. Dog, strap in your seatbelt. She's talking about her blonde demon boy.
No, I'm not talking about the blonde demon boy. I'm talking about the main boy that's gonna go with the girl. That fucking guy sounds constipated when he speaks, and then when he tries to get loud and gruff, he's like, "Her," like he just needs to dump it. Like
here was a direct reenactment. He's like, "Don't touch her."
That time, like he was sounding like he was old and gasping for air. Like that voice actor was trying too hard, way too fucking hard. Like, dude, if you can't do the part, just keep the scoot.
Well, here's the thing. Like, basically, his voice is probably someone who's like deep and like very serious, but the voice actor wasn't made for that voice role.
Yeah, because
He doesn't have
if you
the voice.
go watch the sub version of his Japanese voice actor, he has like a deep voice, but it's very smooth and
It's
like
fitting.
and cold, like
Yeah,
he
that's what it's
like
supposed to be.
and he has like a chip on his shoulder, like it fits his character.
But in that one,
But
he just
the
sounds
other dude, constipated, out of breath, he's forcing it, and we don't need force when it comes to that.
well, because that's like with me. Like when I watched New Origami in its pure utter form of the subbed version, right? I loved it. When I watched the nicely translated English dub, I was like, none of these voices match. I fucking hate it. Because Yato did not sound like his, very confident, peppy self, like I'm cocky as fuck, like I'm a god. No, in that one, he just sounded like, basically, he sounded like the regular old dude. I'm saying Kirito in the sense of like a boring voice, but I love Bryce Papenbrook so much, so don't at me. But
Okay,
I'm
okay.
just using it as an example because Kirito is, I'm sorry to say, plain as shit. But that's just me.
Okay, so do you think if they ever made Fuse a dub version, do you think they'll butcher the translation like they did for the subbing? Or do you think they'll actually do it justice and better explain the point they're trying to come across?
Really, it just depends. If it's Viz Media, I'm pretty sure they'll be accurate. And nowadays, they probably won't censor it like they did with Cardcaptor Sakura, because they still censored it, even though like they redubbed it. If it's Funimation, oh heaven forbid, it's not going to be accurate.
To this day, I still hear the worst translation dub slash just translation in general would be I think it's Ghost Hunters. It's about these little kids that are ghost hunters, and there's like
in this house. We do not mention that in this house.
Horrible.
Well, because
things.
okay, here, like the original story is basically based around these kids like ghost hunting, right?
Mm-hmm.
While in the English dub, the entire time they're spouting nothing but randomness. Like one scene, they literally said, "Oh, it's a rabbit. Fuck rabbit," or some shit like that, or like they were randomly in a room and he's like, "That girl's got big tatas," and I'm like, this isn't relative to the story. You're looking at a picture of a relatively normal woman.
And then I think the rat, they even had the rabbit, or somebody called the girl a bitch. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's why I said like it's. Oh, and the dude who plays Karu from Oron, he was in that anime. He was playing one of the younger kids. But that's what I'm saying. Well, like this is where you started out, my bro. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, it's this translation is like this is probably like the most renowned like worst voice acting and translation I've ever seen in my life, because I'm pretty sure the actual anime is like a relatively like decent and like good story, or else it wouldn't have had a long, I don't know, like one season. I really don't know how long this thing is, but we as the English dubbing audience has fucked it over, which I can see why Miyazaki is very picky when it comes to people translating his work. Because I mean, they fucked up his first movie. They promoted it as like this weird like sci-fi prince thing or whatever the crap, and the translation was just like butchered beyond hell. Like it wasn't even like remotely similar to the story. Heavily censored.
Mm-hmm.
So when Disney redubbed it, it was actually like accurate. So you're really like it like I said, it depends on the company. And if it's it is
he sent a sword to the Disney company and said no cuts. Because they were telling him like, yeah, we're gonna have to cut this out, this, because it's not for kids. And
well, then don't.
He's like,
then don't use it.
He's like, he wasn't agreeing with this, so he sent them a sword and said no cuts.
But that's the
or you're like not gonna.
But that's the thing about that is the difference between our kids in America and Japan's kids. Is they can watch that stuff. I mean, they air One Piece and Dragon Ball Z on TV.
Like it's normal.
But we can't do that because there's blood in it. We have to heavily censor that shit. I mean, come on. They watch Case Close over there. It's a murder mystery show. Yet they don't air it over here. They have to air it on special anime networks.
And a lot of the time they're like, well, for us, like they're at night.
Not for them.
They're at night, and then for other places they're probably early in the morning.
Yeah, when they're gonna go to school because
yeah.
But we get the ones that are more like very kid friendly, like I guess in a sense of like for them it's still whatever, but you know. That is to say, some people still have the stigma where like, oh, all animes are for all age groups. It's like, no, you're not gonna. No Japanese mother's gonna let her son watch a hentai. we're not doing that. You know what I mean? But it's just like we get Pokemon, we get Yu-Gi-Oh, but even Yu-Gi-Oh was still heavily censored beyond fucking shit. And Pokemon had like weird food translations.
Well, yeah, because they wanted Yu-Gi-Oh to be for kids, but if you read the manga, it's actually really fucking dark.
Especially Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, Yami Yugi, when he goes Yami form, he actually killed somebody.
Well, that's the thing. There's actually Yu-Gi-Oh Season 0, or for the manga, I don't know what they call the manga version, but this was the original story before actually Yu-Gi-Oh, and yeah, it's a lot more darker because Yugi, when he would switch to Yami, quotations, he would kill people after he battled them, and he won. And they actually adapted that into an anime, but people didn't like it as much, so the creator rewrote the story, and then it's what you see it as it became.
Basically, today. They didn't want him to be a fucking Bakuya.
Bakuya?
He was the white-haired guy that had the necklace.
Well, yeah,
and when he switched, he was just like this very evil personality.
Yeah, that's what Yugi in this original series was like. He was. But actually, regular Yugi was actually also a pervert. He was a pervert. Like, when he wasn't in his evil form, he was a perv.
Kind of hard to believe.
To Taya. So her name's Taya, right? Or English dubbing named Taya. His voice acting didn't age well. He's like, you gotta get over there now. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's like, he's supposed to be like that.
He's got that Boston accent right there.
Like, I thought it was more like Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
he's got that accent. I'm like, where are we going, bro? But
I mean, he used to bully Yugi, so I guess they were like trying to give like a.
Well, because like we still had all the same characters from that original book. It's just things were different. But like I said, like yeah, Yugi was a perv. He would constantly like flip up skirts and shit. Especially Taya English dub. But like when they remade it, he was a soft, caring boy, and then when he changed, he was that.
He was cool, he was a Mary Sue.
I don't know. I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh in years, and I didn't follow it very well. I have all the mangas, kind of. So you think I know?
Like, it was very like. Don't get me wrong. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, I love that show.
Yeah, you're a Yu-Gi-Oh person.
Like I used to duel, all that shit. But
I have the mangas though. Like how?
But Yugi, yeah, he was like very like power of friendship, heart of the cards.
Is that like Natsu from Fairy Tail? Friendship, fire rock.
Right. This is right. This is wrong. Like.
And then Yami's just in the corner, like, hi bitches, I'm just here.
I'm just here in case Yugi fucking needs me. Because,
yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, the one who won most of those matches was Yami, not Yugi.
I mean, the only time it was like a team effort was was when he went up against Maximilian Pegasus, and that was because Pegasus was he could uh read people's minds if I remember right.
Yes,
Yeah, so they had to
because
keep
he
switching.
had the millennial like the millennial
Millennial
eye,
Eye.
and it
Yeah.
was stuck in between the crevice of his actual eyeball.
Oh, Yugi boy. Like,
Yeah,
shit.
that was the English dub. Let us remind ourselves
Yeah.
that. And
Oh, and let's not forget the CD soundtrack that I used to have. That dude's song in it too.
just kidding.
Should I play it? I'll probably get fucking copied.
Yeah, no, don't do it. That's the OG shit. They'll definitely copyright your ass.
Yeah, like I when I got the DVDs and I actually got like the little
No,
small
yeah, I
CDs,
remember that. I remember
and
that.
I'd put in my karaoke machine. I was just like, "This is the shit." Now I'm just like, I'm fucking
I
cringing
was
at myself.
no, dude. I remember that. I was there.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
was there. I was still around. You know, I was born. Fuck. You just forgot about me in her childhood.
No, I just remembered that when we were in the RV and I brought my karaoke machine and we're watching Yu-Gi-Oh and I had the CD. Yeah, you were there and you were just like, "You're playing that again."
Well, because, like, okay, you were obsessed with Yu Gi Oh! I just sat there and watched it because you had it on. I wasn't every time Pegasus would come on, I'd be like, oh, fuck this bastard again. I'm done.
Toon World it is.
You're gonna be blasted into the Shadow Realm. And I'm just like, but then when you're older and you realize, like, the actual Japanese subversion said it was the, fuck, what was it called? The afterlife or something. Like I said, okay, like, here's the thing. Side tangent. I've tried very hard to look for the original Japanese dub and audio for Yu-Gi-Oh. It's
No, you
fucking
haven't.
no. Yes, I have. It's fucking nowhere.
Maybe because I never did do
Well,
like.
it's the fact because like we have it here in English for everyone knows Yu-Gi-Oh. It was popular, so like on streaming websites, they're just that's the main thing. They don't even have the original audio, like
Well,
ever. It's the same thing with Pokemon. They don't have it either
think about it. That well,
because Ash's name isn't Ash, it's Satoshi. And I'm over here
how
trying to.
the fuck did we get Ash from Satoshi?
Because, like I said, back then it was very much a staple to give them English names so that way the people here, like the little kids, would connect and they could say the name. Because no English kid is going to be like, Mom, I want Satoshi. But they'd be like, Satoshi. Like, like
All fucking like evil.
yeah, so they called him Ash.
Oh my
Misty's
god.
like even Misty. Her name in the original video game was not Misty. It was some other name. They all have like, I mean, they even censored the video games, and they still do that. Go lay down. Go lay down.
Well, this is
Okay.
depressing. My whole childhood is a lie.
Yeah, because like um yeah, because in Pokemon, like let's like for instance, Black and White, like their name is Hilda and I forgot the other dude's name. I think it's like Hervum or some shit. That's not the names that they call them over there. They have Japanese names, so people just call them like by Moon and Sun or like Black and White, by the title because it's like, and then they censor things, like they change swimsuits to look less sexy or they change jokes.
Or like another one I find where I was like, okay, over here.
We went
I
from
know
talking
you.
about that movie to talking about
Okay,
like
yeah, this is gonna be about that movie and like plenty fucking more. Okay, so we're just we talked about the movie.
well, because that was the whole movie. We finished the movie. Now we're talking about translations and shit.
Well, yeah, because like again, the movie had like it's
Well,
obvious it had off-putting translation.
yeah, because whoever translated it The thing with translation is that they have to make it to where, okay, like they have more words and letters than we do, right? We don't. So when they translate it, they have to make it sound appropriate, but also long spanning, so that way you're not just sitting there for a few minutes, like still listening to guys. Yet the sentence is already finished, so they have to like word it just right to where it makes sense for us, but it's also still original to the translation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of times when you see fan subs, they're broken or even they don't understand. They're trying their best to translate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it fucking takes forever to translate shit. And that's not just for like Japan. Other languages can be like that too, but for the Asian things in general, like they have so many kanjis and different like what does they call it, suffix or something. I forgot the word. But they have they
Prefixes?
have three different ones, three different like alphabets and stuff. You know, like
Yeah.
I think China is like that too, like Chinese, but I'm not sure. I'm only like stating from like Japanese. They have like three different like things. Not like us where we have certain alphabetical letters and then we just have words. You know.
Yeah. But definitely it's on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have Prime, you can watch it for free right now.
Yeah.
Is it
Maybe the Prime website's the one who dubbed it. You never
probably?
know because
Yeah.
like it's not on any other streaming site like Netflix or Hulu, so you
No.
can't really like base it off of like
You don't have a comparison right now.
unless you
I mean,
bought.
unless you look at retro anime, that's a completely different comparison.
I'm pretty sure that they dub it themselves because like they post nothing but like raw
Or no,
Japanese like.
it's the YouTube channel that shows the clips of Fuse. If you guys kind of want to like take a look at it before going to go see it, it's called Retro Crush.
They're
And
not trailers; they're actual clips
well,
from
yeah, they're
the
actual clips,
movies.
so I kind of consider them like trailers because I'm getting like a little,
Sneak peeking into there.
a little taste of what that shit's about. But
Yeah, because they have a lot of like magical girl animes and stuff, but it's not like actual trailers. It's like
yeah,
clips from the
and
movies
if you want to,
and
yeah, and if you want to see some old school animes or
it's like the
the
best place.
movies,
It's the best
they
place to
actually
go.
have the full seasons on there.
Mm,
Like they have Araya something on there.
Aria.
Aria, yeah, and they have um, I think they have Maneater on there. They have like some of the stuff that they do put clips of on
Mm-hmm.
there to advertise for themselves. They do have it on there, like all the seasons on it. But again, it's called Retro Crush. Definitely give that a look. But that's where I saw that movie, from the clips. That's why there's like some parts I kind of could like patch in aside from you, but
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the only other place I can think of that I've seen would have a different translational difference.
Oh yeah, that and like sometimes YouTube does have captions, but even then, like some of the
Even those
captions,
are derpy.
yeah, but the thing is, some of the captions people can make themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're watching like a death YouTuber, they make the captions themselves.
Yeah.
If you want to put them on, or like if they're speaking a different language and they make them themselves. But then again, like I said, not everyone does that. But
Mm-hmm.
it just depends on who wants to do it or not. But if they if they do dub it, no Funimation. I'm sorry, Funimation's a no.
Yeah, I've been noticing like Funimation's been kind of like,
Apparently, they've been always like that. We just
like
never noticed.
as like at first I was like, oh yeah, Funimation, because they're the shit. That's what
I
I
thought they
grew
were.
up on.
I thought they were the only ones who dubbed things, but actually they're not.
No.
Meeplex and Vizzy actually does do their own dubbing.
Yeah.
Funimation sometimes does coincide with them sometimes, but not usually all I mean, Full Metal Alchemist was an Amniplex and Vizidub. Well, no, Amniplex. Vizidub was Naruto. So.
Yeah, it's just when I was growing up, it was like a majority of our animes were all like Funimation.
That's
That's why, yeah, because Dragon Ball Z. So that's why I was like, when we subscribed to Funimation, we were like, I was genuinely excited. But then when I was just like seeing certain things, and then they didn't have certain animes on there and
then
shit.
There was the fact that it kept buffering.
And then there's like was buffering things, and I was just kind of like, well, this is very, off-putting. I might as well just go to Crunchyroll.
Well, here's the thing with debuffering. It's not like anything we did because the internet was working very well, and we were only watching it on one TV in the whole house out of all the TVs we have. So really, there's no excuse for it to be buffering all the time.
Yeah,
because it's not like we share internet. It's not like there was someone else in another room watching it, or the internet was just not working at the moment.
Yeah, there are times like it just has like
it wouldn't
a very weird pause, or it doesn't even load.
Yeah, and then there was the fact that like you had to like pay for certain things. Like you could like I don't know you don't need to buy it to watch anime on there, but if you want to watch the whole season of the anime, like for me it was Black Clover, you had to pay for all of it, and that's why I ended up dropping off of Black Clover because the only episode they allowed you to watch was like 15 episodes.
Oh, I thought you said you only watched 5 of them.
No, I got pretty far in, but then like I lost interest because
I think I only liked it because I was able to catch up so far to One Piece. But that was the only reason.
Yeah, but even then, like
I was watching it religiously.
Dude, the manga's not that long, and it's a manga. I realize they do that so that way the manga can catch up. It's just like, dude, one of those fight scenes only lasts for like 4 pages of the actual book, and then it's over with. They span it between like 3 episodes.
Oh, like, okay, massive spoiler if you guys haven't watched One Piece.
Oh my dear Jesus.
Like, okay.
Dude, if you've seen every single episode of One Piece, I give you a reward. That's like Detective Conan. If you see every episode, I give you a reward.
Perfect example when you're at the arc where Luffy is trying to save Ace before he gets executed, and you see how big that area is that he has to run across while dodging battles and stuff.
It's big, but not 7 episodes big.
Yeah, it was more than fucking 7 episodes. Yeah, like every time you thought he got at least to like the middle of that state, nope. Comparing it to like a stadium or some shit, they would like zoom out and he would still be like far back.
That's the thing. Logical in real life, you can cross the stadium less than an hour. It's not like it's gonna take you an hour to get to like the end of the stadium, especially if you run. And he was running.
Yeah, like they were milking that for all it's worth.
The reason they did that was because, like I said, they're trying to catch up. The manga creator, like they're in the middle of it, and that's why I said, I'm like, why don't you just wait and then do it? But I don't know how that works over there. But that's why I'm just saying because then you're making it longer than it needs. I mean, we're on 900, almost to 1,000 episodes. The longest running anime is Doraemon, or was it? It's not. Is it Doraemon or is it the other one that looks like Doraemon? No, I think it's the other one that looks like Doraemon.
Okay, well, let me loop back to the movie. You know how like they kind of like milk things or whatever? Were you happy with how they kind of like kept going like to get to the like point, and then how it climaxed basically?
For me, it was utterly confusing because it kept pausing and jumping, and then I missed certain things. So to me, it's like, yeah, kind of certain aspects just seemed like, because like all of a sudden she's at the river lake and he's there, and he's yawning and shit. And it's like, when did he meet up with her? Because the scenes earlier, he wasn't there. So it's just like, where are we going?
Because, I mean, they made it like when Retro Crush, when you're seeing it, he's obviously like drawn to her, and he tends, and that's what he did. He would just kind of like pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that's the thing, like when I'm watching this anime, I don't see him randomly pop up. I see him being gone for a while and then popping up. But then again, like I rarely even saw that. So to me, it's just like
do you feel the characters connected enough for them to be at the I love you stage?
No, based on how I experienced this movie, no, and what I saw, no. But then again, I tend to be someone who writes demisexual relationships. So it has to be like years or like very strongly bonded people together. So yeah, like, but the thing is that she does do those whole connection things. So I mean, like, I guess that counts.
I mean, like, even though she just arrived in town and then he took her hair dryer and started using it to fight with when people are chasing him on the bridge. You know, she's saying, "I'm a girl," and he's like, "Oh, that explains the blush marks on your cheeks." And she's like, "It's frostbite." Like he was just talking to her like, "Yeah, I just got into a fight and took your hair dryer. Here you go." But funny that you should mention that you're a girl. Like it was just like
basically, it's like that whole thing of how would I explain it?
they just synced really
quickly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Some people do click right away, and it's not because people are like, "Oh, love at first sight exists." I'm like, no, it's infatuation. You're infatuated with that person. Do you know what love means? Love means you can't live without someone. That was her at the end when she saved him. She's essentially saying, "I can't live without you." Because if she didn't love him, she would just let him fall. I mean, yeah, when you care about people, you wouldn't want them to die either, but like when you love someone, you're gonna do anything to make them survive. So that's what I'm saying. Like, for you to obviously sit there and like, I'm in love. No, you're gonna make me roll my eyes so hard that they're gonna fall to the floor. Garnet knew what she was talking about. Because like some people were all like, oh, in the episode The Answer, like they had the love at first sight moments. Like, no, Ruby legitly thought she was adorable and was infatuated with how cute she fucking looked. Because she didn't see her eye before. You know, and that's the thing. It's infatuation is just based like, oh, like either how they act in that moment or how they look. It's not the fact that I've genuinely gotten to know this person. And, you know, it eventually blossoms to love, which I've never experienced that feeling, but I do know how it feels to love someone non romantically, so I know certain things. But I'm just saying, like, at the end, it makes sense. But throughout the whole movie, me just like being someone who kept coming in brokenly, like, but they did click right away, and she has that connection of power. So I guess that's like almost like a kind of like a fuck you moment to the crowd, and be like, I know it's short as fuck, but here we go.
Yeah. And then when I thought what was your favorite scene that you saw in the movie that you just liked?
My favorite scene was when she was trying on the kimono, and he avidly really liked seeing her in it. Not like pervertedly, but he was just like, oh shit. It's like, again, a Princess Jellyfish moment where he actually saw her in that getup.
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, she's actually pretty. But then later on, when she's not in makeup and shit, he still thinks she's pretty. Like, he finds her more cute when she's in her otaku moments than when she's actually all dolled up. When she's dolled up, he's just kind of like,
not bad.
yeah, like you can actually pull it off. Whatever. Like he's more like girlfriend material, but then like when she's an otaku, he's like, he's trying to go with my virgin brother. Oh no.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts too. Like
that's why I love Princess Jellyfish, and that's why I was liking their dynamic because it's similar.
Yeah, that's why I said it has that vibe.
Yeah,
that's why I was kind of drawn to it. I'm like, you know what this reminds me of? Princess Jellyfish. Like,
because they have like I said, they have this like thing in Japan. Like I said, I forgot what it's called. It starts with an O, and it's like basically people who are just like not in the stigma of like gender roles. Like I said, that swan dude and that island of people from One Piece. Like because they mostly tend to categorize them as gay men, but they're not gay men. They're just like, fuck your gender roles. I'm gonna wear what I want, and that's what the dude from Princess Jellyfish and this dude is, because like they still fall for women, even though like that's basically saying that a man can't be feminine.
Yeah.
And still like women,
or a woman can't be masculine and still like men,
or like both, or neither. Really, whichever way you swing. There's no shame here, but that's what I'm saying. It's just like he can rock being, a very feminine dude in those plays because yeah, like that's a lot. Like I said, I read a yaoi on that, and he was in a play. Full, they were all men. All the men were actors, and he played the like main role, which was a lady, and he's guy. So like, yes, this isn't my first time seeing this.
I was thinking with how I was seeing the clips off of Retro Crush, I firmly believed that there was gonna be more moments where she got like
near him more,
mostly when he was doing his like plays. I legit thought like he was gonna hang around her when he was like all dressed up, or like from his play, or invited her to a couple more plays. Like that was the impression that I got when I was looking at Retro Crush.
Yeah, basically it was a lot more like randomness than like actual like
he
it is plot driven, but in the sense of the story, it's too fast paced to be plot driven.
Yeah,
it's almost episodic.
And I mean, and in a way, like it's almost like they were trying to insinuate, like, oh well, they pop in on each other at the right times,
So that's the thing, and that's not how like things usually work. People see each other just randomly. Yeah, it's not like a right time moment.
Okay, what was your biggest what the fuck moment?
My biggest what the fuck moment? Biggest what the fuck? You mean like how do you mean, like why did that happen, or like what tomfuckery led us to this moment?
Yeah.
The Emperor dude was confusing as fuck. I guess that was one of them. What led us up to this moment? Because it was confusing as fuck.
To me, it was really fucking weird. Like he was himself, and then all of a sudden, like he popped his head into a shirt, and then popped a new head out, and it was like, where the fuck did you come from? And then when you see him having a mental breakdown, sucking on his finger, you're just like that cape, like donut thing that was around his neck that popped out two different people. You're just kind of like, how?
Plot twist. That's how he changes into his other form. He has to pop in his head real quick.
Yeah, that was really fucking weird.
This ain't no BNA shit where they just change automatically. He's got to pop his head back into his fucking hole.
Mine, that was like a what the fuck moment, was when the one lady that was like kept coming every night to serve food, and out of nowhere
that was what led us to this moment, because she was just randomly pregnant all of a sudden. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I know. Okay, my what the fuck moment was that when she's like, I need to talk to you tonight, and then they go to try.
She's randomly crying. I come in and she's randomly crying.
Randomly crying. Well, for her, she's randomly crying. Even to me, she like I was caught off guard a bit, and she was just like, I'm scared. I don't know, like she was just upset, trying to just like run off from Hunter Girl's brother, and he's like, look, I wanted to wait till I was an officer before I said this. Would you marry me? And then we're just kind of like, okay, well, I guess they had like a relationship going on, and she finally just wanted to talk about it. But then later,
well, earlier actually, this was earlier in the movie. That whole brothel thing, that was earlier.
Okay, I know, but I'm just saying. But later, when he finds the sister, and they start, and, after he slaps her, I don't even think the slap was like necessary. But anyway, after he slaps her, and he's like, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. I just found out, um, I'm gonna be a father to, the lady, and we're just kind of like, is that what that was? What?
Because, like, retrospectively, in that scene, nothing was said about her being pregnant.
Yeah, it was just
Like,
her being scared.
And she was like, I'm afraid
and
of,
upset.
like, facing something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what are we facing? Like,
It was
the
just
oncoming war? Or the Emperor? Or the fact that there's fuses running loose? Like, what are we afraid of? Why are you afraid?
Or that you, that you finally have feelings for him, or he doesn't have the same feelings for you. Like, I don't know. It was just very fucking random. So I like, when I first paid attention to it, I just put it off as like, okay, just maybe like she liked him, or they liked each other, and they're finally talking about it or some shit. But no, you get to that one point, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be a dad, and it's like, oh. And then
like,
you sit there.
Together at some point?
Yeah, like, when did you have time for that? And then you're sitting there even longer, and you're like going, oh my god, he almost had sex with an old lady in the red light district.
Not like she would have gotten pregnant or anything.
No, that's not the point. Like, you were with, I mean, I don't know if you were officially with her, but that doesn't matter. Like, you slept.
He probably wasn't. Like,
maybe they both, like,
let's be honest. Like, they don't call it the red light district.
Well, yeah, I understand.
Also, let us be known to say this: the red light district was literally the size of a small island.
Yeah, this wasn't like no, little corner convenience store. This was pretty massive.
Yeah, because usually, like, red light districts are like, small places behind, like, rural areas, so that way they're secret. That's why they call them red light districts.
Mm-hmm.
This was literally an island, and it was really fucking weird how, like, they had, like, kind of, it's not okay, like, they don't show any bits, but it is like a naked statue, and it shows itself at certain times of the day, and the men are avidly getting turned on by it. I'm like, you have to be really, really, like, depraved, I guess, to get turned on by a statue that literally has no bits, and it's literally made of stone.
I mean, that's like looking at a mannequin and getting,
getting your rocks off. Like, maybe you shouldn't go to a store anymore where clothes are.
Yeah, like, that part was also kind of weird too. But anyway, yeah, that part was just like, I feel like
certain things
they needed something to fill in, so they kicked that.
It's just certain things didn't need to be. I mean, I get that. I get it. They're showing you like, oh yeah, this is the red light district. This is where the brothels and concubines are. But
I was talking about like that relationship, like, moment. It was just so, like,
oh well, yeah,
like they meant it. Like, they didn't know how to go anywhere with it, but they threw it in there anyway. That's.
This movie. She's blinking like a lot. I just Mm. It was, for me, it was all over the place. But then again, like, I was viewing it very brokenly. That's why I say that. But I mean, I've seen animes that still had their shit together a lot more than this.
Oh, here's what I don't understand.
Mm.
If their lineage was like dogs or beastmen, why were they all different colors except for Shino? The lady was pink, her son was green, the other dude was blue, one was like an orange. They were all different colors except for Shino. He was the only natural colored one. Yeah, I
Okay,
forgot.
here's the thing: if you haven't seen this movie, everybody has normal hair colors. Let us get behind that. They all have normal hair colors. We've got oranges, we got reds, we got blacks, we got brunettes, we got blonde people. Shino has white hair, which white hair is a thing. Also, silver hair. These people had odd hair colors. Why? Because it's
What
just
fur? Fur.
well fur, but I mean their hair would have to be that same color too.
And here's what I also noticed about the Prime translation. When she was complimenting his hair,
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Yeah, your silver fur is very pretty." I'm like, "Okay, are you insinuating that you saw him taking essence from people and you saw his fur, or were you just calling his hair fur?"
When was that?
It was when
Was this after she saw him transform or before?
this was after they got done with like the fight on the bridge, and then she's like, "I don't know
Mm.
how to read. Can you like show me where to go with
She
this?"
saw him transform though actively.
And yet, even though she saw him do that, she still went hunting with her brother.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
like odd.
Yeah. Oh, and concubine lady also had blonde hair. Well, yellow hair technically. She had. She almost had
Yeah,
highlighter yellow hair.
yeah,
But still.
highlighter yellow hair, but her fur was pink. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't say that.
Remember when they kept showing the head? It was pink, but the hair was blonde. Yeah, they were all different colors. That's why I'm like kind of
Why?
like
They? I guess they. Okay, maybe their excuse is to do that so that way, like, people can tell them apart. I guess so they don't all look the same because relatively all the heads look the same. That's why when you said there was a child there, I'm like, wait, there was. I didn't notice.
well, yeah, it looked like a puppy head.
I didn't notice. I guess I wasn't paying attention. Too many bright colors.
And
But
it was green,
I thought
lime green.
I thought it was. No, I'm pretty sure it was pink.
No, the mom was pink.
Okay.
The pup was a lime green,
Okay.
and then one of them was orange.
Because like here's the thing, my philosophy for like wild hair colors with natural hair colors has to be like
You're the main character.
other characters have to have wild hair colors too. You know how like you can tell who's the main character because they have
That's what I
fucking
just
hair,
said. Yeah,
weird fucking hair. But
yeah.
but that's the
Yu-Gi-Oh.
it's just because that would be the thing that would make sense because like yeah, in their human forms they have normal hair, but when they change they don't. That doesn't make any sense.
And then one last thing that tripped me out when
Mm-hmm.
Shino transformed, like, okay, he in his dog form, like full on.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I got was like, okay, humanoid dog or wolf, beast
Mm-hmm.
man, whatever you want to call it.
His ears are really
His ears kind of reminded me between a rabbit and a kangaroo, but that's not the point I'm making. When you
weird.
look at his shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just fur, and instead of just making the fur like thicker to give it like dimension, they put this very thin like bra strap like tank top fur going up and then over his shoulders, and it looked like you could see through it like that, but it was fur. And to me, I was like,
It happened.
yeah,
I
when
didn't see that.
that ever since I seen that on Retro Crush, I can never not pay attention to it because it's one of those things where it's like, oh God, please take him, re-edit him, and just fix that because it it's not appealing to me. It's not really appealing to like my eyes. Like somebody else might think like, oh, this is a really cool design, but to me, it kind of bugged me. Like it seemed like a very bad veiny or bone or like fur effect instead of just trying to like be like, hey, let's just like thicken up his fur there instead of making him look skinny and mangy. But yeah, he kind of looked like a kangaroo dog or something like that. Like, she's googling it to see what I mean.
They aren't actively showing many photos of him, but yeah, he doesn't look like a dog.
Just when you get the chance, just look at it. Um, look at it on
Yeah, because here's like a show of like where his thing is, but like you still can't see it.
yeah, just like look like when you get the chance, just look at it on Retro Crush, and you'll see him do the
Oh, and
transformation
then
and
this was
stuff.
another like what the fuck moment. Like there was the dog at the beginning of the movie that looked exactly like him, and she shot it in the neck, and it looks like him.
Yeah, that okay. I would have to rewatch the beginning of that because I only saw bits and parts, and even I found that kind of confusing. I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like. And I'm like,
Like
no,
yeah,
that's
in
not
dog
him.
form, that's what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But that dog at the beginning looked like him. So that's why I said I'm like, wait, did she kill him at some point?
We haven't even started the fucking story yet, and this bitch already killing people.
That's why I said when she meets him later on, I'm like, oh, does this become is like the beginning, like the middle, end, or? But then she's like actively like, oh, no, and I'm like, something just doesn't belong here.
Children.
He had red eyes, he had white fur, and he had little he had tuffle fur on his chest that was yellow. What is this Vato wearing? Yellow he's got a yellow scarf, he's got like white hair, and he's got red fucking eyes, and he's got a tattoo on his neck. I don't really know if the dog had a tattoo, but still, she shot it in the neck where the tattoo was. Bitch,
And how like fate like intertwines. Like maybe that's why it kind of like made her like second guess things. Or
that's the thing. That thing
that was her first time hunting, and then when she goes into town and is going through like the shock of it, she kind of wonders like, what if I didn't kill that pup, or I mean not the pup, that dog, and then she sees a human that looks exactly like that, and then the whole fantasy
she
of
starts
it
having.
turns into a dog, like
She has the Vietnam flashbacks.
like some crazy
Oh,
theory
no, I
like
just
that.
got a thought. Please don't let me go.
So, do you think there's anything else to add about this movie? Because it's almost gonna be like 2 o'clock in the morning.
No, because we started talking about translations and how Funimation we went from one subject to another. We had an ADHD tangent, which is usually what I
I mean, maybe we should make cue cards, but then again, it's like it's not as
do. We don't really care.
genuine. I mean, I'm not saying you can't be genuine being organized, but it's just with us, there's too much going into everything.
Too much. Good night.
But yeah, we're just a couple of tangent idiots. But so
Dude, this was like that time we watched that fucking like lady with the painting movie, and you made me like do an Instagram video where you're all like, "What did you think of the movie?" And I'm all like, "What was happening?" Because the entire time I was reading fan fiction, so I was
yeah,
just
not only that, but like we're gonna save that for like another time. That movie was like a different breed of its own. I didn't even understand what was going on.
We're not watching that movie again.
Isn't it called like Miss Kibiyoshi or something like that? It was on Netflix.
Okay, like basically the premise of the movie, I was just like, what the fuck is happening? But then at the end, you were like, oh, it's about like them, like the paintings are haunted, and they make paintings to call the positive.
Is that really the conclusion it came to? What the fuck?
Or like there was evil spirits in the house, and
Was I high that day?
like, I'm crying.
Oh no. Okay, well.
No, the spirits were evil, and they had to make calming paintings to like exorcise the spirit. These bitches were artists, okay? And then the little girl died at the end of the movie, so I was just like, some other fucking shit. And she didn't resent her dad for some reason, even though the dad was kind of a dick. Or whatever.
Yeah. Alright, guys. Well, definitely enjoyed this talk. Definitely go give Fuse Memoirs of the Hunter Girl look at. It's on Amazon Prime. If you want to see clips of it before watching it and fully committing to it, check it out on Retro Crush because they got quite a few clips of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I firmly believe the translations between the two will differ. So just be prepared for that.
Prepared for life and death.
But what would be, on one very last note, what would be your rating for that movie? Out of five stars, what would be your rating?
Okay, visually, I'd say a 5. Story-wise, I'd say a 2. Animation-wise, I also.
Okay, animation wise.
Okay, we'll do anime and visuals as one because obviously you have to critique the animation and visuals along.
Okay, yeah, I would agree. It's a 5. The story
and plot points was for me a 2.
Yeah, probably like a 2 or a 3 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I guess we were expecting different or more, and not jump cutting, which is essentially what they were doing.
it just kind of seemed that way. I mean,
it was all over the place, and it's like they were expecting us to know what was going to happen without barely like saying anything. It's just like, dude, we're not mind readers.
Like how quick they were trying to explain the backstory and like of the fuses and stuff like that.
I didn't even get to see the play. I didn't even get to see
that. Oh yeah, you came in at the part where he's asking her to meet her after the show. So yeah. But yeah, I pretty much agree to those ratings. But definitely go give it a look at and come to your own conclusions on what you think of the story or if you like it or not. But if you like Princess Jellyfish or, would you consider her a strong female lead? She's kind of like moderate.
No.
Yeah, so she was just kind of.
As far as like personality goes, I guess she is not a stereotypical female lead, but as far as like her actually avidly doing something without being overly powered or too much docile, she's kind of in the middle, but she doesn't perceive her points really correctly. I mean, you could say like that's flaws, and it's good to have flaws, but relatively half the time, from what I saw, she wasn't really doing anything. Just getting flustered half the time. That's just
or just didn't know how to handle certain situations.
I mean, the ending, that was something. But even then, at the ending, I didn't even see her shoot that gun even once. So
She only shot it like a couple times.
Yeah, she mostly just holds the gun, and she's like, I'm. Grandpa says like I'm an avid huntress or hunter, and I'm just like throughout the whole movie, I'm just seeing her like not doing much. I'm just like, oh, I'm not believing you.
Yeah.
Not terrible, not good, just not a strong female lead, at least from like we're not